Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. First, I want to say thank you all for your patience. I have gotten a lot of emails and questions over the past few months since my first video, and I just wanted to make sure I came back with a information that would be beneficial to you that have been waiting and that have had certain questions. I wanted to make sure I have something that I can provide you that has all detailed questions and answered that are not my opinion but are backed by research and that are backed by legal things that you must have for your business. We all will all be successful, and that is why I created this ebook, because I want anyone that is starting in this business, or if you already have a business, to understand the importance of starting with a strong foundation so that you don't have to go back and pay more in the long run through rushing and not researching or just not knowing innocently than if you do. So this is more of a tool. I like to say that this is a tool, a means to an end, and you can use this to set yourself up as if you were operating at a larger capacity. Never look at your business as it's just a small business. I can function any way I want without any repercussions. Always look at yourself and keep yourself to the highest standard that you possibly can, because you don't want to, again, pay in the long run what you could have taken care of in the short run. Of course, with knowledge and understanding in time, but it's best to do that if you want to be successful long term. So that's what this book is about, and I titled it "Don't Play Small, Set Yourself Up for Success." Okay, because we're not going to play small. You don't have to want to be the next Huda Beauty or the next Too Faced, but you can keep your brand professional and at the standard that these brands do. Regardless of where you're making your product, you can operate and function in order. So I'm just going to make a brief overview of this video. This book is copyrighted, and all of the chapters are easily clickable, so you can click on them and they'll jump to the next chapter. You can highlight it depending on what you're using to look at this book, but that is what you will have. So I have a foreword, and I just say the quote, which I love. It's "Chance favors the prepared mind." You never know what opportunities are going to come your way, but if you are always thinking and preparing for the next step and what is going on right now, you won't fall for too many surprises, and when things come to benefit you, you'll be ready because you're prepared. And so in this book, I just give a quick overview of what's going on. There are 10 chapters. The first chapter is about strategic market analysis and goal setting. This is very important. Before you go buy your tools, ingredients, or even if you have, and if you've hit a rough patch, or if you're doing good and you want to get even better, stop, pause, and set goals for yourself that are measurable, quantifiable, even qualifiable, that you can actually achieve within your scope and your reach, and that align with your capacity. But I also say this because with this kind of industry, you need to make sure you are really complying with the FTC, the FDA, and the EU regulations when you start selling. If you're wholesaling, if you're buying from someone else, you become 100% responsible for anything that goes wrong with those products. Let's use this example. There was a case in the UK, and the company was selling, I believe it was like a some type of tanning lotion, and they didn't use preservatives in their lotion, and 2 of the customers were hospitalized. Now, they didn't disclose that they weren't using preservatives. They just sold it as is. They didn't really follow the instructions, and they were liable for that, and I just give the example of preservatives because I get asked that question a lot. And if you don't have any preservatives in your products, you cannot guarantee a shelf life. And if you can't guarantee a shelf life, you have to legally tell people that you cannot, or else you're not complying with the FDA and the FTC. They may sound like something that can only go after larger businesses, but I can assure you, if you do violate these, you will be charged as a larger business. And it makes no sense to grow so big and to really hit your goals and put in the work to lose it to just not putting in 2 drops of preservative, because in the end you wouldn't want to buy something where it's going to just mold. And especially since most people are making their products in their home, their basement cosmetic lab, or whatever you have, it's not enough to just use bleach to wipe down your surfaces. It's not enough, especially in the time of COVID. Dust is airborne. Different things are airborne. And if you're not working in a certified sterile lab and you're not doing home microbial tests and you're not certifying that, you absolutely need preservatives. It has nothing to do if it's vegan or not. There are green or eco-friendly preservatives, but you need a broad spectrum preservative. It's really probably a $20 investment that could save you hundreds of thousands in doctor's bills that you will be responsible for. And in this book, I back up why you need this. But when you're doing your goal setting and you are doing your market analysis, these are weak points that a lot of people have in their business that some don't care to address, some don't know how to address, and some don't know of why they need to address it. But you can be at an advantage of already starting off or fixing what you already have. But anything has to be full disclosure. When people are putting something, they're consuming it or applying it topically, you have to tell. So that's kind of where that angle is coming from. I talk about a SWOT analysis and give you marketing definitions that we use in the field, and that can help you when you do look at tools to use. You can talk about social media content management things. If you want to go outsource and have someone else do your social media management, this is how they're going to talk to you in these terms, and this way you will know. I give a chart and some examples of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to your business. And I always tell people the number one threat is research. Not researching or not knowing how to research or learning how to research. Even just going to Google and scrolling through pages and pages and pages, it's going to help you, teach you. You need to know everything that's going on with your business. The same way you know what's going on in your house, you know your job, whatever, you got to know it, because when people come to you with propositions, you have to know what is good for you and what aligns with your goals or what you don't need. Okay, and again, it's just research. I talk about SMART goal setting, and people that are really successful may not always say that they specifically wrote out SMART goals, but I can assure you they had some type of SMART goals to stay disciplined and on the course, and that they can have benchmarks to measure to make sure their business is aligning. It's not enough to say that I want to have a eyeshadow business and sell 1,000 palettes. It's not enough. We need to break that goal down, figure out how we're going to get to the end, and that is what we talk about in this. I give examples of SMART goal setting, why you need it, and I promise you, if I can't promise you anything else, you'll see if you can handle it. If you can handle operating a business and setting goals and benchmarks for yourself that you're going to be responsible for keeping. And that's what we talk about. And it's nothing scary. If anything, it's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you stronger. You're going to feel much more accomplished knowing that you set your timeline. It was all on you and your business partner, whoever you work with, to make sure you're knocking it out and you're doing it legally. The next chapter I talked about is chapter 2 is communication. Will it make or break your business? I list and I substantiate the top 5 FTC and CFRs that you must know for your beauty and cosmetic business. I talk about the issue of closing your business when things don't go right or when you get too busy or don't have ingredients. I talk about sending off products that are leaking. I talk about it all. These are very common issues. And the part about it that most people don't know is that it is illegal. It is. You are violating a rule. And you can be audited just like anybody else can. If enough people come and file claims against your business, you can be sued. So let's not even get to that point. Let's correct these things within our reach. Because when people pay for a product, they don't pay and they get an item that is damaged in transport or that is leaking and stuff. That should not be the case. That should not be the case. Mistakes do happen, but you have to rectify it by a refund. We don't ignore customers. We don't block or shut off our social media when something goes wrong. You are responsible. When you start selling, you are responsible for full disclosure. And again, this is not my opinion, but this is just to keep you in check legally so you don't have to worry about these things. And I talk about how to talk to your customers in your market when you can't meet demand, when supplies run out. Talk to people, because when you do that, you have proof. And I teach you why you need to tell them on every medium so that it's fair. I talk about made in USA claims, environmental marketing claims. If you're saying that you're green, your products are green, they're harmless, they are made vegan, or you don't use any you use recyclable items or recyclable packaging. If you cannot prove it with documentation, you cannot say it. You cannot advertise it, because then you're falsely advertising and you're breaking that code of federal regulations, believe it or not. If you're using the logo bunny for cruelty free and you haven't gotten approved by that certifying agency, PETA, anything like that, you're violating that as well. When you make claims such as anti-aging, you're now going into the cosmeceutical territory where you're selling a medical product. So I tell you about lingo and things you should watch out for, and I give definitions of industry standard definitions of these things so you can understand for yourself of why you cannot use it and how to change your wording to help protect yourself if you are doing that currently. I also talk about approval versus guarantees, and again, how to basically fix this in your business and not to violate this. Next, I talk about transparency, safety, and compliance. I list direct links to governing agencies that talk about manufacturing processes, what you must have on your product packaging and on your websites, and even the packaging that you don't put labels on. And I go here. The easiest thing you can do in this section is if you want to highlight these CFRs and just plug it into Google, it'll pull up the CFR right there for you so you can read through it. So I made that easy for you, but I list all of the things you have to have these things. And without having formulas, you cannot follow these rules. Okay? And I give you additional tips in how to add this to your packaging and also different resources you can. I give you links to how to get your cruelty-free certifications. And I also created an example of an FDA compliant label. Just the label. We don't go off. I'm not going off of an exact package. This will go on because you'll see in the labeling guide, there's labeling specific for different packaging that you have to follow. But it'll be based on what you're selling, which is why I didn't do that. So, you always have to have some type of contact information. People must be able to contact you at all times, your company, and that's why it's good to get you a company phone, like a Google number or anything you can use, never your personal number. So, because it's a federal rule when you're selling. And I give non-compliance examples. I also talk about the INCI and privacy concerns, and then I back these up with the direct statutes and citations from the FTC CFRs regarding these products and the FDA as well. Next, I talk about recalls and just having overall compliance. Chapter 4 is about recipe versus formula and scaling your process. This is going to be the part that a lot of people focus on first versus the legal. And I say focus on the legal versus the formulation, because if you go sourcing products and mixing, like making recipes versus formulas, you're going to have to start over anyway, because what you can't measure and give accurate measurements of, you cannot have a formula of. Otherwise, you're selling recipes, and when you're, again, selling something that's going to be ingested or applied to the skin or to the body topically, you cannot sell something like that without making sure you are selling a product that is measured and has the ingredients at the correct proportions that are legally allowed. Believe it or not, you can only add so much vitamin E to a product. So if you're just dashing the vitamin E on, you may be violating that and putting people at a health risk. So you just have to make sure of this. And I just break that down for you here. I also give resources that you can use to help your formulation efforts. I break down a formula for you, and with direct hyperlinks to the ingredients, anything that you would need. Sorry if I'm scrolling too fast. I talk about alternative ingredients, different creative tips, and then, of course, writing dynamic copy that converts. If you bought the eBook or the PDF guide, thank you in advance for that, and thank you if you've already done it. And I also talk about don't burn out, literally. And this chapter focuses on the different phases you should have in your production process that all top brands go through. And I also talk about how to question your vendor. If you brought the vendor list, then you've probably seen some of this. I talk about private labeling, and I go into industry terminology. This is how people will talk to you when they're formulating your products. If you're doing the real deal stuff, this is what you're going to see. And I break down different terms such as like the cast number, what are lakes, the FD&C lakes. A lot of people question me about making glosses and using different micas and oxides. This is what you have to know about FD&C or DNC certified to really protect yourself, because some cannot be used for makeup. So I go into that. And I have citations here for you to back that up. I also give you a list of the top ingredients or raw materials that you will most likely need to start off your cosmetic business. I give you the name, a link to a site that's verified and proven to keep you in compliance. And that's in the hyperlink with the INCI, so you can just copy and paste it. And then I give you the purpose. It'll be your job to figure out, what you want to make, and you have an easy reference chart to be able to do that. I go through silicones, liquids, powders, preservatives. Like, again, example, like flake resin, isododocane mixed with flake resin helps make products waterproof or transfer proof. Okay, so that's a little freebie right there. and a little bit of a preservative. That's a little freebie right there. Okay, so things like that. And you can just use your creativity and think about these things and then make your own products based on that. Okay. And again, I go through thickeners for your products. And the most important thing you have to have, which are preservatives. Okay. Your product can still be green and have preservatives. What's not healthy is having something that has no shelf life, because you wouldn't want to buy something at the grocery store, a meal, and you eat it and get sick. Same thing. You have to think about your customers like that, because that's exactly what is going on. I talk about colorants and the FDA approved colorants, and I talk about cosmetic glitters and how to source them and repackage them to sell them. Next, I give a list of, I alphabetize this list in order of basic starter equipment that you will need. And all of these equipment almost all of it can be reused, but these are the things that are not going to break the bank, but that you need. It's going to make your life much easier when you're starting off, or if you're already getting in. I talk about vendor lists again. So if you brought the vendor list, thank you. But I also added it in this book for your convenience. I talk about financials and pricing. Really, the issue of co-mingling is where things get sticky when you start to do your taxes. And I will say this, one of my businesses last year, I made about just a little over $33,000 in taxes. I had to pay almost $9,000. You do not keep everything you make. You have to adjust for this. But there are things that you can do to get your taxes reduced, and you have more deductions by measuring your office space and things like that. I was able to get that $9,000 reduced to about $3,500. Okay, with that, and with a great accountant, and being able to itemize business expenses, marketing expenses. But this is why you should have an Excel sheet or some type of software so that you are tracking these things, even your lunch that you're getting while you're on the clock, so to speak, for your business. You need to have that. Okay, I give you definitions here, and I also give you the top 5 softwares I would recommend that are under $10 a month as of today that I know about, and that are user friendly, even if you're not really tech savvy. I also talk about planning ahead and some things you should think about, and how not to sell yourself short. Chapter 7 is about finding reputable international supplies, packaging, and product vendors. This is important if you are not familiar, and I give a full breakdown here with links to stores. None of these links I have in the book are affiliate links. I'm not getting any money from it. This is tested either by my clients or myself, and they are safe. Chapter 8 is about branding, social media, and design. This is my field. I am in software development and software engineering. So that kind of is how I got into the consultant thing from the back end, as far as like I paired my marketing degree with my software engineering stuff. And that's pretty much how I got to where I am. So this is really important when you start thinking of the aesthetics of your business. It's not just about getting popularity on social media, but it's how you trigger the psyche of a human being to get them to buy. And that is done through symbolism, through colors, through messages, through conscious and subconscious marketing. That is exactly what it is. If you all did not know, Target is in the world. Target, the store, is probably the number one marketing agency and data collection agency in the world. They've actually gotten sued a few times because of that, but they are able to track based on psychology, based on human behavior. And that is what you should start thinking about when you start thinking about your customers. Have fun with it, but do things that appeal, such as choosing the correct colors to appeal to the market you're trying to serve. Different tools. I list different tools and resources you can use to design that'll help you. Even if you're not even into design, you can use some until you can get a designer. I list learning how to code. I know some people will use Shopify and think, okay, well, everything's done for me. But believe it or not, Shopify experiences bugs too. Trust me, I know on the back end. But learning a little bit of code can help you identify errors. And even if you don't learn enough to fix the error, when you go to pay someone, you know what they're talking about and you don't get swindled. That helps you keep a leg up. Because even if you sound like you know what you're talking about, you're less likely to be swindled or to be overcharged or for you to pay more than what is needed for something. And it helps you have an eye to debug. You see a banner on your website's not displaying, you know where to look. So always just learning a little bit more helps you, and you never know how the knowledge you don't think you need would really help you in the times you don't expect. I also go into additional design tools and apps that you can use, and using Etsy as another creative resource. Chapter 9 is about capturing your target audience's attention with creative and clear visuals. I give lists of just the basic photography starter equipment that you can get, that you can reuse, such as custom SWOT stencils. I give you a link to that. How to get SWOT stencils for anything, seasons, just diversify your product, anything like that. I also talk about photography and video elements that will boost or differentiate yourself, such as showing texture, finish, color variants, lighting, showing it on different skin tones. Using props. And storytelling. Storytelling is going to be photo and video tutorials, and live swatches with minimal editing are going to be your bread and butter, because you can edit so much to where the person gets the product and now they want a refund. Okay, we don't want that. It's great to go live. It's great to have live videos, nicely done videos, but limited editing, so people can kind of see what they're going to get. It's even better if you can get a person or influencer or anybody to use your products and show them being applied, to show what we're really going to get. Okay, and our last chapter is chapter 10, next steps, turn passion into action. I give you a list of things you should think about doing once you get that business up and running, or before you launch, or even if you've launched, some things you may have missed, like going to the SBA, your local small business association, and getting free tools, going to free meetups, joining meetup groups, networking in the community, getting your product out there. You'll be surprised who you can meet when you get out there and explain what you're doing, especially in this time where a lot of businesses want to diversify and help women, help minorities. This is a great advantage to take advantage. This is a great opportunity to take advantage of, and to get resources, to get maybe grants. But you have to look serious about your business, and you have to at least be legally compliant before someone would want to take a chance and invest in you. But with this guide and with different resources and links we have in here, you will be prepared to help get that business plan written up. Legal documents online, a lot of them are free, as long as you go back and look at a notary or have a lawyer look over them. But get yourself set up for success. That's what this book is all about. It's not about not having the money or whatever. Do what you can with what you have. And then when you're doing what you can, you naturally attract the next step, because you're showing desire and preparedness, and you're attracting that to yourself. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to make your business, as long as it can take you 10 years, but if you got it started off right, you already have accomplished a major goal. Okay, so we don't give up, we just keep striving. And in the end, I gave you a bonus free ebook about going back to the psychological aspect of your customers, which is really going to sell things to you. It's a free guide. There's no affiliate links. You can download a free PDF to keep, but it's called Buyer's Triggers. And I want you to understand 10 key points that cause people to buy. You want the people to have your product. and that's what we talk about in this book. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for your patience. If you have any questions, I read every comment. I appreciate it. Feel free to email me. I don't charge anything for answering emails. I'm happy to do it, actually. If I don't know the answer, I'll lead you to a source that is credible and that does. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe and much, much, much success. Thank you.